Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, day 4 of our 5-day challenge. And the title of today's live is This One Thing is Sabotaging Your Hormones and Fat Loss. And this one thing for me might be her this morning. Because she was up all night. Poor dog, wasn't feeling well. So I'm feeling a little fatigued today, but that's okay. This is our last official live. Well, I shouldn't say official live. Teaching live. And as I'm saying that, I'm like, tomorrow I'm still going to be teaching you a bunch of stuff because tomorrow is going to be a live Q&A. So you'll be able to submit all your questions and I will go live and answer as many as I possibly can in 30 minutes. But today, title of the live, as I said, this one thing is sabotaging your hormones and fat loss. And if you listened to yesterday's live, I kind of hinted at what that one thing is, and I'm not going to take too much more of your time, but that one thing is, it is stress. Stress. We are going to talk about stress and the impact on hormones and fat loss. And I'm going to give you a little backstory or science, I suppose, as to how this all works, but basically, our brain and nervous system, they're always on the lookout to make sure that we are safe by scanning our environment. And when our brain senses a stressor, and those stressors can be, oh my gosh, so many things: family, kids, work, finances, illnesses, infections, moving, divorce, death, birth, accidents, etc. You're probably thinking of a few more things. But it can also be things like poor gut health, negative self-talk, excessive worry, self-criticism, perfectionism, coming from a recovering perfectionist. It can be pressing snooze and rushing in the morning. It can be skipping meals. It can be dehydration. It can be over-exercising. It can be too much caffeine. It can be alcohol. It could be drugs. And the list goes on and on and on. There's so many different things that can add stress to our lives. And the thing is, it's not necessarily the stress that kills us or makes us sick or unwell, but it's our reaction to it. So what actually happens in our bodies when we experience a stressor? Bear with me for the next few minutes here because I want to give you, as I said, kind of the science as to how this all works, because it's just going to make a lot more sense as to why I'm talking about this. And number one, our brains are notified of a stressor, whether that's physical, emotional, mental, and then something called our hypothalamus, which is at the bottom, a gland at the bottom of our brain, activates our sympathetic nervous system. And most of us know that as our fight or flight system, being in a state of fight or flight. And this triggers our adrenal glands to release stress hormones. So I'm talking cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and something called DHEA. And these stress hormones then increase how alert we are, increases our blood pressure, increases our heart rate, provides us kind of a burst of energy. Often our breathing increases because this all helps to deliver more oxygen, nutrients, of course, to our muscles when we're in a state of fight or flight, to our brain, and to vital organs. And this is where things get interesting. We also get an increase of glucose or sugar going into our blood because carbs, any carb, it can be vegetables, it can be fruits, it can be potatoes, it can be cookies, any carb will get broken down into its simplest form, which is glucose, which is sugar. And that gets stored in our muscles, and it also gets stored in our liver. Now, when we are in a stressful state, in a state of fight or flight, then our body will release glucose, sugar, whatever you want to call it, into our blood. That's just ultimately what happens. More sugar in our blood leads to more insulin being released. I talked a little bit about blood sugar control. Not that you need to know all of this, but leads to more insulin being released. So there's more blood sugar, more insulin. This can lead to eventually insulin resistance, which can lead to prediabetes, which can lead to type 2 diabetes. It can lead to cardiovascular disease. It can lead to PCOS. It can lead to fat loss resistance. Obesity is the, I guess, ultimate thing that ends up happening if you are always in a state of fight or flight. This is all from like a physiological perspective here. And this is important here. The last big thing that is happening is the suppression of non-essential functions in your body. So your body is super duper smart. Its main goal is always to just keep you alive. So if you are in a state of fight or flight, it is going to make sure that you're breathing. It's going to make sure that your blood pressure is good. It's going to keep you alert. But things like optimal digestion, things like healthy hair, skin, nails, things like hormone balance, things like reproduction, restful sleep, muscle growth, tissue repair, and lastly, fat loss are put on the back burner. So you're probably connecting the pieces here that if I am in a constant state of fight or flight, rushing around, list of to-dos a mile long, not stopping at all during the day or from the minute you wake up till the minute you go to bed, that's not a good thing. And that can lead to a whack of issues. And that's why stress management is so, so important. And I encourage every single one of my clients to be mindful of stress management. And of course, all of you challengers to practice at least one stress management technique daily. And that can be something like yoga, meditation, breath work, journaling, reading, crochet, coloring, puzzles, games, stretching, just sitting out in nature, anything that you feel just brings you down a notch, where you just feel this sense of like flow or calmness or ease. And I don't think many people even know what that feels like. And I say that because this used to be me a few years ago in, oh my gosh, I would say complete state of burnout. If I'm being honest, I would try to meditate and I tried to close my eyes and they would just like flutter. It was like the craziest thing that my body felt so unbelievably uncomfortable. And I know I'm not the only one because I've had this conversation with several clients. And that's why it is called the practice of meditation, because it's something that you will continually be working on. I'll often hear, but Danielle, like I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about my list of to-dos. That's okay. That's normal. It is completely normal to have thoughts. come in and out and in and out. And that's what I want you to visualize. When you are doing your meditations, if it's not a guided meditation, but even if it is, I've done guided meditations, my brain goes whoop, way over there, and then I have to bring myself back to the guided meditation. But your thoughts, I like to visualize them as clouds that are just floating by, in and out. The practice of meditation is bringing yourself back to the present, to your breathing, to whatever guided meditation that you might be doing. Now, if you are new to starting practicing stress management techniques, it can be a little overwhelming to add another thing to your list of to-dos already. I get that. One thing that I know every single one of you can do is breath work. And this is something that I do every single day, several times a day. I've just gotten into the habit, and I guess you could say I've almost habit stacked breath work. When I am in my vehicle, driving anywhere, perfect time to be, I turn the radio off, turn the music off. I just hate driving with any other sounds anymore. And that's when I work on my breath work. And I'll be sharing a few of my favorite techniques in our group chat. But we all breathe several times a day, but we don't realize that that's what we do. And just being intentional and paying attention to the rate of your breathing, slowing down, just being present in your body, there is huge benefit to decreasing stress hormones. And it shouldn't be something that you just do when you feel anxious, when you feel overstimulated, when you feel nervous or uncomfortable. Yes, those are great times to do it, but it should be done every single day to get you in a calmer state. When you can bring yourself out of that nervous energy, your day is going to be so much better. You're not going to stay there as long, which is exactly what I want all of you to be able to achieve, because stress isn't going anywhere, but the way we respond or react to it is so important. So with breath work, like I said, you can do it in your vehicle when you're driving, when you're cooking, when you're washing dishes, when you're watching TV, I suppose you could even do breath work. When you are in meetings, you could do breath work. When you are helping your kids with homework, you could do breath work. I'm sure you're getting the drift here. This is something that you can practice silently. Some breath work is a little bit noisier, but you get my drift here. You can be present, at peace with yourself, practicing this without anybody knowing, and honestly, whenever it's convenient to you. So today's challenge is for you to at least once sit down, stand up, walk, whatever it is that you are doing, and practice some breath work. Be in tune with the rate of your breath, how quickly you're breathing, how deep, how shallow you're breathing. And like I said, I will be sharing a couple techniques. I love box breathing. That is my number one, but I've got two other ones that I would love to share with you. So if you have any questions on this topic, drop them, of course, in the comments below here or in the group chat. And I will also, as I mentioned, be doing a live Q&A tomorrow. So this is your opportunity to ask me whatever you would like to know about health, wellness, fitness, supplements, workouts, nutrition, hydration, hormones, whatever it is that you want answered. Ask your questions, and I will be live tomorrow at 9, answering as many as I possibly can in 30 minutes. Enjoy the rest of your day, ladies.